Hello everyone, and here we will be discussing on the structure of parapodium. As already mentioned, the parapodia, they are hollow, flap-like, muscular outgrowths on the lateral side of the body. And usually the parapodia, it is present on the trunk segments of the Nereis, except for the anterior-most and the posterior-most segments. All the segments do have a pair of parapodia on either side. The parapodia, the term comes from two Greek terms, the para and the podus. Para means lateral or sides, while podus refer to the appendages, foot or appendages. Okay, so here it is lateral appendages, that is the meaning. These are anterior-posteriorly flattened, vertical, flap-like outgrowth of the body wall on the lateral sides of the trunk segments. If you are asked to define parapodium, this particular sentence, it gives the complete picture. That is, they are posteriorly flattened, vertical, flap-like outgrowth. So they are not dorsoventrally flattened, but it is anterior-posteriorly flattened. Okay, that is, you can see here, it is anterior-posteriorly flattened. Okay, and they are vertical outgrowths of the body wall on the lateral sides of the trunk segments. They are hollow structures. It encloses coelom, and this coelom is discontinuous with that of the trunk segments. Now, structurally, a parapodium is a typical biramous structure. Biramous, that means it consists of two parts. It consists of a proximal basal region bearing distally two parts, that is a dorsal notopodium and ventral neuropodium. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Okay, this is the basal part which is attached to the trunk segment, and this part, it is contains two parts, that is a dorsal notopodium. This part is known as the notopodium, and this part is known as the neuropodium. Okay. Now, each part is further subdivided. Each of the part is further subdivided into two leaf-like lobes. So, the notopodium, it contains two leaf-like lobes, and neuropodium, on the other hand, it also do have the two leaf-like lobes. Okay, each of the lobe is known as a ligula. Okay, it is known as a ligulae, plural, ligula, singular. Okay, so the dorsal one is known as the superior ligula, and this is the inferior ligula. So this is the superior ligula of notopodium, and this is the inferior ligula of the notopodium. While this is the superior ligula of the neuropodium, and this one the inferior ligula of the neuropodium. Okay. Now each part bears at its base a slender tentacular process, which is known as a serous. Okay, this is along the dorsal margin of the notopodium. It contains a dorsal serous. Okay, and along the ventral margin of the neuropodium, similar structure, the ventral serous. Okay, the dorsal serous is slightly larger than the ventral serous, and each part, that is notopodium and the neuropodium, it is supported internally by a deeply embedded, long, stout chitinous rod. This is known as a aciculum. Okay, so aciculum is a chitinous rod which actually acts as an endoskeleton supporting the notopodium and the neuropodium. The aciculum also serves for the attachment of seatal muscles, which serving as a sort of endoskeleton. Now, each part also bears, that is the notopodium and the neuropodium also bear a bundle of long, fine chitinous bristles, the seating. Okay, the one present on the notopode is known as the notokitte, and the one present on the neuropodium is known as the neurokitte. And these notokitte and neurokitte, they project beyond the margin of the parapodium. Each setae, it is actually bundle of setae, and each setae of the bundle, it is placed or it is lodged in a setigerous sac. Setigerous means a setal sac. Okay, and it is supports the setae. and new setae are continuously produced by the setal sac when the older ones are lost. So at the base of each setae, there is a setal sac, and when the setae falls off due to any reasons, new setae are produced from the setal sac at the base. The setae can be protruded or retracted or even turned and bent in various directions with the help of the setal muscles, and this is also present at the base of the bundle of setae. Now, when you see the structure of the setae, one thing I left over is the acicula muscle. I'm sorry. When you here you can see the aciculum on the inner side. It is provided with acicular muscles. Okay, at its inner end, the aciculum we can find it is attached to muscles by which the protrusion and retraction of the parapodium occurs. Okay, acicular muscles they are responsible for the protrusion and retraction of the parapodium as such. Okay, now going into the setae again. The setae, you can see here the structure of setae is given. We will take one type of setae over here. Each seta, it is a two-jointed structure. The basal shaft, which is attached to the body, or the proximal part, which is known as the shaft, and the distal part is known as a blade. Okay, the setae of Nereis, we can see are of different types. One over here, you can see the long bladed one. Here it is very long blade, isn't it? It has a very small shaft and a long, slender, straight and pointed blade with one edge serrated. This is a serrated margin. Okay, so this is known as a long bladed type or long blade type of setae. Then we have is the overshaped setae. You can see the overshaped setae have a comparatively larger stout shaft, short and slight. You can see here that it is oar-like blade. Okay, the blade is slightly oar-like, and this is a kind of setae which is found in the sexually mature Nereis, that is a heteronereis, where we have already mentioned that heteronereis, they come out of the burrow and they are found actively swimming on the surface waters. So for this active swimming, they need setae which can help in swimming, isn't it? So there they have got oar-like blade, okay, or oar-shaped setae. Sorry, and this one, the setae here, it is actually having a small, slender, large, what you call shaft, okay, and short and slightly hooked blade, okay, with a very short serrated margin. So these are the different types of setae which are present on the parapodium. I hope that part is clear. Okay, now the sharp setae are used for protection, maybe like as a defense, and also for obtaining a hold on to the smooth inner walls of the burrow. So setae, they are meant for protection. They are also meant for holding on to the inner wall of the burrows. Right, that is a function. Setae on the parapodium. The parapodium near the parapodium throughout the body, throughout the trunk segments, it is of uniform size or shape. Okay, along the near the middle region of the trunk, parapodia are the largest, and it gradually the size decreases towards the anterior and the posterior ends. And all the parapodia are essentially similar, except the first two, which lack notopodial seating. The first two parapodia, or the parapodia on the first two segments, doesn't have the notopodial seating or the notokitte. Okay, the parapodia, they have dual purpose. As such, they are locomotory structures. That is how the name has come, parapodium. But other than that, they also help in respiration. So parapodium, it helps in locomotion as well as respiration. The setae bound to the parapodia, they are used for protection. They also help in adhering onto the inner walls of the burrow. Okay, this is about the parapodium. I hope this part is clear. So we saw the structure of parapodium. So this is how the parapodium is, right? And you can see the actual mounted specimen. This part, it is the notopodium. This part is the neuropodium. This is actually attached to the body, so it is a proximal part, and the proximal part it contains two divisions. That is what the notopodium and neuropodium is all about. This structure, it is a very stiff endoskeletal chitinous rod that supports the notopodium and the neuropodium, and this is known as the aceticulum. Aceticulum on the inner part, it is provided or it is attached to aceticular muscles. These aceticular muscles contracts and relax for protruding and retracting the parapodia. On the outer side, the aceticulum is associated with a bunch of muscles, a bundle of muscles, a bundle of setae. And the setae present on the notopodium is known as the notokitte, and this one, it is a neurokitte. Right, each of the setae, it is placed in a setagerous sac, or what you call as the setal sac, right? And setal sac is responsible for the regeneration of the lost setae. Okay, and apart from that, the parapodium also bear two structures, one along the dorsal lining of the dorsal margin of the notopodium, and one along the ventral margin of the neuropodium, and these are tactile appendages. The one on the dorsal side, it is known as the dorsal serous, and on the ventral side, it is known as the ventral serous. So this is about the parapodium. So we have seen the structure of parapodium, saw the different types of setae, and when it is being found. Okay, fine. In what stage we can find these different kinds of setae. We saw the functions of setae and the functions performed by the parapodium as well.